round 4 of the Screensport Superstar Series for Formula One stock cars. Well, during the series we've gone to Brisca tracks throughout the country, and today we're at Northampton, which is also staging one of the qualifying rounds for the World Championships. And with me now is Blue Top driver Mo Smith, who's had some considerable success so far in the qualifying rounds. Tell us about that success, Mo.
I had a few qualifying points before last night, but last night I had brake trouble in my heat, then won the Consolation and then won the final. Car was going very well, and we hope to get a few more today, so we're further up the grid.
You had a fairly slow start to the season, didn't you?
Yes, we had handling problems with the car early on. The crew before last, we blew a big engine, so they had to come out for a rebuild, but it seems to be going well at the moment.
Now, you have been a red top driver in the past, and obviously you're having a good season at the moment. Do you think that you might be going back up to red tops shortly?
It appears I will be for the next grading period, but we just keep trying and enjoying the sport. I think that's all you can do.
So being a red top isn't the be-all and end-all?
No, not really. I just enjoy the sport. Hope me and the car give our best, and as I say, just enjoy the sport.
Now, you're one of the few southern-based Brisca drivers. Do you think that the opening of the track at Mildenhall is likely to perhaps pull a few people away from Speedworth into Brisca racing?
Yes, there's definitely more interest, and also I think he's bringing new spectators into the sport as well, which has got to be good. But the promoter, like Vince Moody's, really trying to help the sport, I feel.
Now, of course, you were once a Speedworth driver yourself. Any chance of you ever going back to that?
No, afraid not. Like, you know, I raced there for 2 seasons, and it didn't give me the enthusiasm to race somehow. It just hasn't got what Brisca has got, I'm afraid.
Well, looking forward to seeing you in action today. Thank you very much, Mo.
Thank you very much.
Now, your race commentators today are Dave Edwards and Martin Clark, and a very warm welcome to Martin, who's joining us for the first time today. Over to you, Dave.
Yes, thank you, Liz, and here we are at Northampton Stadium. Martin Clark alongside me. Martin, it's a nice day this afternoon. Looks as though we're in for some excellent stock car racing.
Yeah, I think so, Dave. Let's hope that the 1 or 2 clouds over it keeps it a little bit dry, because there's nothing worse than wet tarmac.
Indeed there isn't, as we saw at Aycliffe when we were up there for the previous round of the Screensport Superstar Series. And having a look at the leaderboard, as we approach the halfway stage, Mike Close out in front by 20 points at the moment. That's car 199. John Lund, he's our British champion, car number 53. He's in second place. And Ray Tilsley, number 85, is third. Behind them, Bobby Burns and Bert Finnegan, 471 and 55 respectively, tie for 4th place. But it's the big names all the way down the top places at the moment, and they'll be desperate for points to see them through to the final of the series at Coventry in the autumn. Bert Finnegan, one of the top drivers, not with us this afternoon. Mr. Starter is calling the cars together, ready for the first heat of the afternoon. And Mr. Starter here at Northampton Stadium, first time we've seen this particular starter in action. It's Pete Sewell. Well, there they go. Pete walks down the track as he sends the cars off rolling for the first heat. The big raiders, the yellow roof cars, just moving through. And down there on the crown of the grandstand bend here at Northampton Stadium, the Star Men. Well, there they are. That's 354 Richard Ainsworth. He's travelled a long way down from Cumbria, Ulverston, in fact, to race here this afternoon. Alongside him, Richard Pratt in 162. And that's Nigel Wharton, 422, with that extremely good car of his, that brand new car that's creating a lot of interest. Alongside him, the world champion, Peter Falding, in 33, with the gold roof. Mr. Starter on his rostrum, though, just sorting his flags into order as they move around on the rolling lap. They've got 16 racing laps to come in this heat, and the first 8 will go through to the final, direct to the final. That's where the big points are available in the Screensport Superstar Series. And there the cars slip the clutch and the green flag is down. We're off and racing with the opening heat at Northampton Stadium. The whites and the yellows hurtle down the home straight, down in towards the pits bend. Roger Warren's the first of the blues going through in 497. John Wright on the outside of Dave Tapp in there, 128 and 412. And already Ainsworth in 354, the first of the Star Men to make a break from the back of the field. The leaders go through at the end of the first lap, and it's Jeff Stagg in 2:66 who leads. Vic Jordan in 3:32 is running second, and Ray Bird is third in 46. That's the leading star man. Richard Ainsworth in 3:54, already in amongst the blues, as you can see, working his way through from the back of the pack. That's world champion Peter Falding down there in a spot of bother in 33, and he's got some cars tangling out in front of him. John Wright in trouble there, and that slowed Peter Falding right down in 33. Quite a tangle there on the back straight, and that sorted out those who started from the blue and red positions. And there's Mike Shirley in 3:95 from Meriden chasing through after the world champion 33 Peter Falding. As they make their way down that back straight, that's the grandstand bend they're going around. It leads them back into the home straight, past the starters rostrum there, with Mr. Starter signalling to the drivers as they come through. And the lead cars down around that grandstand bend again, coming back into the home straight. And we just caught a glimpse of Richard Ainsworth pulling off there in 3:54. He's was the leading star man going through this field, but he's onto the infield and retired from the race. So that's going to open it up for those who are further back down the grid. Some bumper work going on down there on the grandstand bends. And it looks as though it's Vic Jordan in the lead in 3:32, with 3:36 Pat Nortcliffe behind him. That's first and second. That's the gap between them. Nortcliffe closes on Jordan around that grandstand bend. Back into the home straight they come. White Top Jordan has the lead. Not a regular racer, borrows a car now and again from John Lander, who he mechanics for. And Pat Nortcliffe trying to go past Jordan on the inside line, down that back straight. And Nortcliffe is through into the lead, but Jordan returns the bumper work there, down on that grandstand bend. Jordan trying to regain the lead, but Nortcliffe's away from him now, down the home straight. So Nortcliffe in 3:36 is the new leader. Vic Jordan is second in 3:32. Back in third place, it looks like Stuart Smith in 1:39. And Heather's top two, and that's the third man coming through just behind them on that grandstand bend. Through down the home straight they go. So that's first and second, and those are the placemen going through. Rob Cowley goes into third in 73, and Nigel Wharton, starman in 4:22, arriving with the leaders. And that's first and second. Down the home straight they go. Nigel Wharton through to third now in 4:22. The Union Jack is outward at the halfway stage into the second half. So Rob Cowley's been dropped to fourth in 73 as that man Nigel Wharton 4:22 has gone through to third. That's first, second, third, fourth, and that's third. Nigel Wharton 4:22. That's the leader, Pat Nortcliffe in 3:36. Vic Jordan second in 3:32, and there's Wharton in third, 4:22, chasing after the leaders. We're well into the second half of this opening heat. That's the gap between first and second. And still Vic Jordan, the white top driver, holding second, but that's third place man Wharton closing on them, and that's the 5 laps to run board. So we're entering the closing stages of Heat 1. And Nigel Wharton nicely poised now to put pressure on those two low-grade leaders as we go through the closing stages. Judge looking to tap Vic Jordan out there on the grandstand bend. The bumper goes in. Jordan is forced wide and Wharton is through. He's into second. And now with 4 to run, he's chasing Nortcliffe. Nortcliffe the leader in the 3:36 car as they go down the back straight again. That's first and second, 3:36 and 4:22. Puff of smoke from the tyres as Nortcliffe applies the brakes, but he's done it too late. He's drifted out wide and Wharton's in the lead. So Wharton goes through with 3 laps to run in the 4:22 car. Nortcliffe trying to get him back in the 3:36 car, but they're away down the back straight and Wharton's opening up the gap now. Barring back marker problems, Wharton on his way to victory in Heat 1. That's the 2 laps to run board being shown by Mr. Starter Pete Sewell to the leaders as they go down the home straight. Peter Falding, a world champion in 33 there, trying desperately to get into the top places and qualify for the final. At the moment, he's running about 5th. That's Wharton first, Nortcliffe second, Cowley third, Jordan 4, and there's the world champion in 5th place, 33, Peter Falding. Nortcliffe having a battle with Rob Cowley, 73, for one of the minor places. They go around that bend, and down the back straight they go together there, 73 and 3:36. And it's Nortcliffe who's got the advantage. But we're in the closing stages. And they've hit trouble down there as the checker flag goes out. And 4:22, Nigel Wharton takes the flag. Nortcliffe finishes second in 3:36. Third man home in a late burst for the line was 33, Peter Falding.
Well, with this meeting being one of the qualifying rounds for the World Championships, one person you'd expect to see here is the defending world champion, and here he is, Peter Falding. Peter, how have the qualifying rounds been going so far?
I've not been enjoying that. Would have liked to have done a bit better, but there's still a fair field to go, so we might be able to get a few more points.
Yeah. In the Superstar Series, you are lagging behind a little bit at the moment, but you've had a bit of trouble this season, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been trying to build a new car and race one as well, and we've not been able to do everything and get my old car ready for racing. We've just neglected it, and I haven't been getting results.
And when do you think the new car will be ready then? When can we expect to see it?
Well, it'll be out probably for Bellevue next weekend.
Yes. It seems that John Lunt is really hogging all the limelight at the moment. He's having a very good season. Do you see him as your chief rival to the championship this year?
No, not really. It's a lot of luck, really. I would have thought Stuart Smith would have won last year, but I was luckier than him and I ended up winning.
And what do you think of the track here at Northampton?
Well, I like it. It's probably the best tarmac track that there is.
Yeah.
And that's Frankie Wayman there, just moving through the pits bend. Just past the pit gate, which we shall see in just a moment. The cars come on and go off the track on that gate. There it is. He's on the back straight now, and that's just about the time that the green flag goes down and the Starmen slip the clutch. Away they go. There's Mr. Starter telling them they're away and racing in Heat 2 with 16 laps. Oh, there's a tangle developing on the home straight right at the beginning. And I think Willie Harrison's one of them in trouble there. In fact, it's Paul Harrison, his son, racing that car today, number 22. But he sorted himself out and got back on the track pretty quickly to set off after the rest. Wally Pittam also in trouble there, 134. And there come the big men moving their way through the field. Frankie Wayman in 212, already past Blue Top. There's Chandler in 213. Another spin out down there with cars in trouble. On the infield they go, trying desperately to regain the track. So we're looking for the lead man coming through past those back markers, and round that bend he goes, and it's Joe Ferrari in 438 who leads them. The end of the back straight he goes, driving the ex-Stuart Smith World Championship car. Oh, there's a big tangle down on that bend. Alan Long in 279, spinning the wheel, trying to get out of the fence, but they're queuing up behind him to put him back in that fence. Ian Hall in there in 381, and Buster Watson in 59. So the lead man, Joe Ferrari, just gone past them there in 438. Behind him, it looks like Mick Crocker second in 430. Graham Brundle going through pretty nicely in 156. And looking back down the field, Bobby Burns, 471, leading Frankie Wayman through the field. There goes Burns. And there's Wayman. So Burns leading Wayman through the field. Martin, Bobby Burns would like to win this one.
Yeah, Bobby's going very well in the World Qualifiers and also in the Screensport Series, and Bobby seems to be better this year on tarmac than he's on shale. He's had some very good results in the north of England, and again he looks, the way he's going around here today, as if he could add another victory to his long series of victories on tarmac this season.
Well, that's the race leader, Joe Ferrari in 438. That's the man Bobby Burns is chasing as Ferrari comes through on the home straight again. He's down towards the pits turn. There's Graham Brundle going through nicely in 156, and there's Burns in 471. Burns on the inside line there. We're getting just a bit of water off the puddles lying on the infield. It's being thrown out onto the track as cars cut across the bends there, and it's causing problems for one or two of the drivers as they enter the bends. But those are the lead men. 438 Joe Ferrari with the yellow roof, Graham Brundle in 156, then Bobby Burns in 471. He's in third place. That's the gap between first and second as they go down the back straight towards the grandstand bend. And around that bend, Blundell is definitely closing on Ferrari. They're back on the home straight again, past Mr. Starter, who signals to the drivers. Ferrari the leader. Blundell in second in 156. And Burns back in third place in 471. Blundell now bidding for the lead down the back straight as they go towards the grandstand bend. That's Frankie Wayman, who's back in fourth in 212. And there's Wayman chasing after the leaders. The leaders go through down the home straight, and Graham Brundle has taken the lead, and we're at the halfway stage. The Union Jack wave to the drivers. That tells them they've done 8 laps. They've got 8 laps to come. And Joe Ferrari still battling to hold on second place. That's the leader, Graham Brundle, on the inside in 156. Ferrari pushed out wide there, and it looks as though Burns has made it through to second in 471, with Ferrari now relegated to third. So Burns chasing after Brundle, and as they go down the back straight, it looks as though we're in for an exciting climax to this one. There goes Bobby Burns, the man with the biggest front bumper in Brisca stock car racing, 471, chasing after Graham Brundle, 156. The lap boards are out. Mr. Starter showing them they've got less than 5 laps to run around that bend and into the back straight. And as they head down that back straight towards the grandstand bend again, Bobby Burns just closing the gap. There goes the puff of smoke from the tyres as the brakes are applied. And will Graham Brundle give to the pressure? The pressure's certainly on now. The bumper went in there as Burns tried again. Sometimes a little erratic in his driving, perhaps, Bobby Burns, but certainly a hard charger, and he's doing his best to charge Graham Blundell out of the lead position. They'll have 3 laps to run as they come through this time, and still Burns is chasing Blundell, and he's found a gap on the inside now. He's nudging Blundell out wide, and Burns is through. So Bobby Burns takes the lead, and Blundell will fight back, a spin out in front of them on the back straight. And the 2 leaders go out, and Frankie Wayman shoots past the pair of them there in 2-1-2. Brilliant driving by Frankie Wayman there in 2-1-2, and that will upset Bobby Burns in 471. He's got it all to do again. They've got less than 2 to run now. As Burns in 471 chases after Wayman in 2-1-2. Wayman, a master of the waiting game. Frankie Wayman, 2-1-2. He waited for those 2 to hit trouble. They did, and he leads, and we're in the closing stages, and that's the last lap board out for Wayman. He's down on the pit bend now. Bobby Burns there second in 471. But it doesn't look as though Burns is going to catch him. He's trying desperately down the back straight for the last time, trying to close in on Wayman, but he's not going to do it, and into the home straight they go. And Frankie Wayman's going to score a win from 3rd to 1st in the closing stages. Martin, what about that lace burst by Frankie Wayman?
Well, Bobby looked to have it sewn up there, Dave, but Frankie, with his Mr. Consistencies, is well known. He just pinched it in the latter stages. But I would think that Bobby won't be very pleased with Ian Hall spinning in front of him. But a good win from Frankie.
Indeed it was, and confirmation of the top 3. Frankie Wayman in 2-1-2, the winner. 2nd place went to Bobby Burns in 471, and 3rd place went to Graham Blundell in 156.
Well, with me now is the driver of number 471, who'll be a very disappointed man after that race. That's Bobby Burns. Very unfortunate there, Bobby. Tell me in your own words what happened.
We come round with we got the 2 lap board, and I was leading it, and 2 cars spun on the corner, went through the mud, and I went for the inside and got hooked up, and Wayman went round the outside and won it.
What do you think of Wayman now?
He's known as a head waiter because he cheats. Always cheats. He sits there and waits, everyone else does the work, and then he nips through.
You'd have done the same thing though, Bobby, wouldn't you? In honesty.
No, I'd have put him out before that. If I'd have been him, he should have put me out before. But he just sits there and lets us do all the work, and then he nips through.
So tell me, you're known to be a bit of a fighter. Has that incident brought out the killer instinct in you now?
Yeah, definitely for the final, especially Wayman. If I see him again, I shall put him straight through.
Well, Frankie, we had to bring you over here to set the record straight because Bobby Burns was saying some terrible things about the way you overtook him in that last race.
Bobby Burns always says terrible things. He ought to do things on the track, not say what he's going to do.
But he said that what you did was cheating. In fact, you took advantage of his entanglement.
I run on the normal line I were doing. Burnsy were playing about acting silly devils like he usually does.
Do you think there are any rules in stock car racing?
Rules are to win a race. I won the race.
And do you reckon that Bobby Burns would have done exactly the same if he'd been in your place then?
Definitely.
So it's sour grapes, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just Bobby talking.
Now, he said that he's out to get you in the final. How does that make you feel? A bit worried about that?
He'll have to catch me first. You don't worry about it.
Do you think you're on form today then, Frankie? You seem to be racing quite well.
Just lately I've been off form, but I think I'm back on form now, so it should be okay for final.
What do you put your lack of form down to?
Oh, God knows. Everything going wrong. I'm always in wrong place at wrong time at the moment, so... Yeah. Last night I ended up on my roof.
Well, in the series you're lying in 5th place at the moment, just behind Bobby Burns, would you believe? So things could change today, you never know.
Advertising space to let, that's the sign on Mr. Beef's car. Ray Tilsley looking for a sponsor, and with the bumper work that Ray Tilsley's put out this season, Martin, a sponsor I'm sure would get his money's worth.
Yeah, I think I'm sure with Ray, you know, he's got his own little Mr. Beef comes from his wholesale meat selling, and I'm sure that Ray would welcome another sponsor to fill in with Mr. Beef there. But Ray's gone very, very well this year. Since his elevation from Formula 2s, it's probably his best season ever. He's lost his superstar status, but he's not far off in the points. He's 3rd in the grading, and he's also 3rd in the Superstar series. So he's got to be a man to watch this time. But I think the man that may take it here today, this race, I think we'll all have eyes on John Lund.
And there he is down at the back of the grid. We can just see him coming into shot. 53, John Lund, the British champion, leading the National Points Championship. The Superstar on track for Heat 3, just about to roll under the starters rostrum. And there he is, John Lund, certainly the man of the moment in Brisca Formula 1 stock car racing. A man right at the top of his sport, and behind him a man setting out on his very first venture into Formula 1 stock car racing, making his debut this afternoon, Grant Victory in car 351 from Redditch in Worcestershire. Very first time out in a Formula 1 stock car. Good luck to him as he meets up with the hurly-burly of drivers chasing Screensport Superstar Series, and they're under starters' orders for the third heat. And as they head from the pit bend, the star men down the back straight, the green flag is waved, and there they are. They're away and racing. The whites and the yellows head down towards the first turn. The blues and reds follow them through. We've got a blue in the fence up at the top end of the home straight, down in front of the grandstand, and a couple of low graders in a tangle down by the pit bend fence there. I can see 75 John Pierce in trouble for 35 Martin Cave. And the 101 car of Pete Palmer, they were all in trouble down there on the pit bend as the leaders go through. The Atkins, by the look of it, who has the lead in 394. And there they go, the early pace setters around that bend. There's Mo Smith, 51, won the final just last night at Crewe, and there's John Lund in trouble. 53, John Lund hit trouble, Martin. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that I didn't actually see the incident, but I think it must have been a good bump with Rob Pearce stuck in there and also Danny. It must also leave the way clear for Ray Tilsley.
Yes, and as the leaders come through, and that's Murray Harrison going through, picture there in 97. Rod Falding 36, Mo Smith 51, as they begin to spread out around the circuit. So we're with the leader, and it looks as though it's Peter Morton in 132 who has the lead position, but he's under pressure now from Andy Clark in 169 as they go down the back straight. There they are, first and second together, both yellow roof cars. Bumper goes in there as Andy Clark tries to take Peter Morton out. Peter Morton from the north of England, but a regular visitor now to Northampton Stadium these days, and he leads the race in 132. Murray Harrison through to second in 97. There's Murray, and that car will be on display at Silverstone during the British Grand Prix weekend in the Racing for Britain marquee. So if you're heading for Silverstone, have a look at that Formula 1 stock car of Murray Harrison's. And as Murray comes through there in 97, he's in second place and chasing after Peter Morton. And somebody's caught a barrel there, Andy Atkins. And that's going to slow him down. Martin, some of the drivers don't like the barrels too much, do they?
No, if you think back over the years, Dave, there was a hell of a rumpus at Northampton here many years ago, but it's now an accepted part of stock car racing in the Midlands. And I still think that the crowds like to see the barrels flying, and it just makes that extra obstacle for the drivers. It just all adds to the spectacle.
And indeed it does, with Andy Atkins dragging a barrel around. We're back with the leaders, and there they are, Peter Morton in 132. Murray Harrison close behind him in 97. Coming back through on the home straight again. And Murray Harrison putting the leader under pressure. There are the placemen chasing through. John Lund in 53. It looks as though he's still a lap down. He lost a fair amount of time up on that pit bend. Mo Smith there in 51. So we'll have to check with the lap scorers to see whether John Lund is indeed in those places. Mo Smith goes through 51, then Rod Falding 36. And there's Mr. B for Ray Tilsley in 85. He's working his way through the placings. Meanwhile, back at the front, we've got the leaders still, 132, Peter Morton and 97, Murray Harrison. First and second, they're down on that bend again, and Morton is still holding out. The yellow top leading the blue top. Past Mr. Starter they go, down the home straight. And Morton finding his way through the traffic of the back markers with ease at the moment. Murray Harrison still chasing hard after it, though, in 97. They're down on the back straight, down around that bend again, back into the home straight. And they've got just 5 laps to run now as they go through. John Lund moving through in the number 53 car. Is he with them or is he a lap down? We'll check on that as the top two battle it out, and Murray Harrison still unable to get past Peter Morton. Morton still has the advantage in 132. They've got 4 to run as they come through this time. Down the home straight they go, and it does indeed look as though John Lund is with them. Certainly Mr. Starter signalled to him that he's holding third place in car number 53. So we've got a 3-car battle in the closing stages for victory in this one. Still, Peter Morton leads. Yellow leads blue, leads red. There they are, the 1, 2, 3 onto the home straight. 3 laps to run. And John Lund itching to put that bumper in on Murray Harrison in the number 53 car. Mr. Starler signalling to him that he is in third place, so he didn't lose as much ground as we thought when he was in the fence. He's pushing Murray Harrison around that bend. Back into the home straight they come. And Morton still has it in 132, but Lund is now going past Murray Harrison. So Lund moving through, still Andy Atkins dragging that barrel around in 3.94. As Lund goes through second in 53 there, Murray Harrison fighting back down the back straight in 97. That's first and second, around that bend they go. And they're about to start the last lap as they come through on the home straight. Out onto the last they go. Peter Morton in 1.32 leads from John Lund in 53. Through the pits turn and down the back straight for the last time. And Lund is not close enough to use that bumper. He'll try his best to close in on this last bend. There goes the bumper, and Lund itching to get through on the inside as Morton smokes the tyres. But Lund's got him, and the checker flag goes down, and it looks in fact as though Mr. Starter did give it to the Peter Morton car as they crossed the line. So our initial observations that John Lund was a lap down look as though they were proved to be correct. Although John Lund came battling through there in the closing stages, I think he may have been a lap down. Martin, what do you think?
Yeah, John definitely lost time on the pit spend, David, and I think that Peter Morton was a deserved winner. I think to come through and the way he held his line, and he was under a lot of pressure from Murray Harrison, I think a very deserved victory from Pete Morton, but Lund was definitely a lap out.
So, although we saw Mr. Starter signal to John Lund that he was in the places towards the closing stages, we believe that he wasn't in fact, and Peter Morton, a very well-deserved winner of the third heat in the yellow roof car there, 1.32. Second place went to the blue top, who chased him hard all the way, 97, Murray Harrison, and in third place it was 51, Mo Smith. There's Mr. Starter showing them that they're away and racing in the Consolation event. A lot of cars on track this time. We watch the white tops moving away, followed by the yellows. The leading blue as they come through down the home straight is Andy Webb, and trouble already down there on that bend. A 3-car, 4-car tangle. Roger Warren's in trouble in 4.97, and that's down on the grandstand bend before they actually got underway and past the starter. And it's a wholesale traffic jam down there on the grandstand bend. Cars taking avoiding action on the infield. And there's Richard Ainsworth, and he's passed quite a few cars there in 3.54 in that move down there. Well, what a tangle, Martin, down on that grandstand turn.
Yeah, it's mainly the whites and yellows, Dave. There's got to be 9 or 10 cars stuck in that, which has given the red and the blue top drivers a wonderful chance. They haven't had to get through the traffic.
Well, indeed, a lot of the traffic taken out in the early stages, so the top names will be looking for success in this one now. And those are the lead men going through, and it looks as though it's Jeff Stagg in 2.66 who has the lead position. Through the pits bend, down on the back straight he goes. White top, who managed to avoid those problems on the grandstand bend, and he leads the way with Bill Morris in second place in 4.81. Past that tangle on the grandstand bend he goes. That's the lead man. Through goes Jeff Stagg in 2.66, and we're looking back for second place. It's certainly not Roger Warnes. He was in that parking lot. And it looks like Bill Morris going through in second in 4.81 with Alan Long behind him in 2.79. Oh, and more cars going in a tangle down there. This time it's on the pits bends. Now we've got one or two of the low graders again in trouble. And the lead man has gone through, making his way into the straight now. There he is, Jeff Stagg in 2.66. He's got back markers in front of him. Blue top Chris Paxford 4.59 getting the bumper treatment from Jeff Stagg, who's found a nice line around that parking lot on that bend at the moment. So there he is, Jeff Stagg, 2.66, the lead man. Just lapping Chris Wilkinson, blue top driver 1.21 as Stagg goes down the back straight. And he's clear from the field at the moment. Let's look back for second place. There's a long gap back to second. It looks as though it could be Martin Cave in 4.35 as more cars join that pile-up. So there is Martin Cave in 4.35, and there goes the next place man. It looks as though it's Joe Jopling in 4.52, and I think Richard Ainsworth up to about fourth place now in 3.54. So Martin, your assessment of Richard Ainsworth proving right at the moment.
Yeah, Richard's always gone well on tarmac, especially around this Northampton circuit, and it would be a surprise really, though Jeff Stagg is driving a superb race. The gap is closing, Jeff's been caught there, the gap is even smaller. But Rob Pearce has just come through there, and
Well, Jeff Stagg taking that inside line again through that parking lot, down on that turn in the 2.66 car. There he goes, up towards the pits bend. And it looks as though Rob Pearce has gone second now in 1.75 with Ainsworth third in 3.54. So two of the top men in this race are through in the placings. Buster Watson behind them is fourth in 59. Another red roof driver, Dave Muller, is fifth in 3.04. And there they go down the back straight. Pearson, Ainsworth, 175 and 354. Two star men pushing their way through the field, and there right in front of them is the leader, Jeff Stagg in 266. Pierce now bidding to get past him and take over the lead position, and he has done. And as they come around that turn, Ainsworth has found the better line around that bend, and he goes past Pierce. So Ainsworth doing a similar trick to the one we saw Frankie Wayman do earlier, going from third to first in one move. And Ainsworth the leader now. We're into the second half of the race. The Union Jack is out. But Rob Pierce, he's a hard bumper merchant, and I'm sure he won't settle for second, Martin. He'll be trying to get Richard out.
Yeah, I think that he'll probably, if he's got any sense, he'll stick on Richard's bumper for a couple of laps, and within the last couple of laps, he'll just try and nudge him wide. But I think to take the lead at this stage, he's going to give him a lot of problems later in the race.
So there's Ainsworth in the lead then in 354, with Pierce hard on his bumper in 175. They go past Mr. Starter, who signals to them the first and second. Down into the pits bend they go. Just behind them in third place is Watson, and Pierce has taken the lead. He's gone through, and in fact it looks as though Ainsworth's got a problem. He slowed right down in the 354 car, lost his place altogether, and Blue Top Buster Watson in 59 motoring nicely and putting some pressure on Rob Pierce as they come through again. And there's Watson on the inside line. He's desperately trying to get the Starman out of the way. So down the back straight there they are, first and second, Pierce and Watson.
Ainsworth, by the way, Dave, he's got a puncture on his inside rear. He'll probably try to keep running, but I think there's probably too many laps for him to do to actually qualify.
Indeed, there are just 5 laps remaining now as the leaders go through. Pierce is in trouble, and Watson has taken the lead. And in fact, Joplin's gone through as well in 452. Another driver shooting past 2 cars in one go, and I think Joe Joplin's the leader. The boards are out, the closing stages are upon us, and as the leaders go through down the home straight, Joplin and Watson, 452 and 59 go through. Behind them, Dave Mellor's third in 304. Rob Pierce running again back in fourth in 175. So quite a change of places as they come through again down the home straight. And there's a few battles on at the front then, and there's Dave Mellor in 304, and it looks as though the car is smoking a little bit as Dave chases after the leaders. Dave had a really miserable season so far in the 304 car, but this might just be a turning point if he can get with the leaders in the closing stages. The 2 laps are on board is out, and the leaders are through from the pits bend again, and there's Dave Mellor with the car smoking, the 304 car. Rob Pierce just behind him in 175. And it's Buster Watson, 59, coming through again as the last lap board goes out. That's it, they're on the last. 59, Buster Watson around the pits turn into the back straight. Dave Mellor behind him in 304. Rob Pierce held up in the traffic behind them in 175. So Buster Watson comes through from the pits turn onto the home straight. The checkered flag's about to go out. And the drivers cross the line at the end of a very hectic consolation event. So it looks as though Buster Watson got that verdict in the end, Martin. A very hectic race. In fact, we think Joe Joplin might have been there.
Yeah, I thought it was Joe, actually, Dave. I think it's Joe, 452. But both lads, they've both made the long trip in the north of east of England today, and it's going to be just reward for them. But I believe it's 452. I think until the laps, with it such a hectic race, until the laps charts are checked.
Well, the red flag has gone out. Mr. Starter calling the cars to a halt. 8 of them will qualify for the final, and there we can see just some of the cars who didn't make it into that top 8. And the official result then,
looks
1, 2, 3.
Sorry, Dave, it looks like Joe as he's pulled up onto the start line.
Yes, indeed, Joe Joplin confirmed as the winner in the 452 car. Second place then to Buster Watson in 59, and in third it was 304 Dave Mellor. And there's Mr. Starter walking back down the grid as he sets the cars rolling for the grand final. This is where the big points are at stake, and in the Screensport Superstar Series, we've got a lot of star men and superstars down at the back of the grid. Martin, who's going to show front in this one?
Well, it's a little bit like a raffle, isn't it, when you see the calibre of drivers out there. I think you've got to take 6 or 7 drivers that win with a chance, but I think that John Lund, Frankie Wayman, Nigel Wharton, you know, you can go on forever, but if I've got to really plump for somebody, I'll go for John Lund.
So John Lund appears to be the pre-race favourite, and of course we've got Bobby Burns in this, 471. We've also got Frankie Wayman, 212. Frankie called the head waiter by Bobby Burns because Frankie tends to wait around. Both drivers are fully aware of the fact now, and we'll see how they get on in this race if they come together. Down at the front of the blue tops, out of picture at the moment, but we shall catch a glimpse of him during the race, is Steve Booth, 446. Well, we can tell you that Steve got married only yesterday. There he is, with the L plates on. He's on his honeymoon, and of course, all good stock car wives have to go on honeymoon to various racetracks, because that's what stock car drivers do. They don't give up anything for their stock car racing. So Steve Booth on his honeymoon, front row for the Blues in today's grand final in the 446 car. There's the favourite according to Martin, John Lund, 53. They're about to slip the clutches, Martin.
Yeah, well, looking at the start, Richard Pratt's got away well. John's round the outside of Wharton.
And there go the low graders hurtling through as the race gets underway. And of course they'll be doing their best to get away as fast as they can before the red tops start coming through the field. Oh, and there's Ray Torsley putting the bumper in hard as he does all through the race. Tangled down there on the pits bend. That's Dave Knight's 166 with Howard Davis 327 having T-boned him. That's the lead man going past them. It's Jeff Stagg in 266. He's going down the back straight with Vic Jordan close in touch with him around that bend. Back into the home straight they come. And those are the rest of the low graders chasing through after them. Roger Warren showing nicely in 497 in the early stages. He's a blue top car in amongst the yellows there as they go down around that pits bend. And the first of the red tops is Ray Tilsley in 85 going through there into the back straight, and Bobby Burns showing nicely in 471. Burns going through there as they go down the back straight. And again round into the home straight, and just look at the traffic there as they come through. That's Bobby Burns leading the Starmen through the field then in 471, Martin. As yet, no show of John Lund.
Mind, he's moving through the field very slowly, but he's doing it very methodically. You can see each bend he's probably taking 2 or 3 cars, Dave.
So John Lund well in touch with the rest of the Starmen as they come through the field. That's Bobby Burns, the leading star in 471 at the moment. And around the bend come some of those in front of the Starmen. Ray Torsley being nudged aside by Bobby Burns. There's Nigel Wharton chasing through in 422. And there's Burns again in 471.
John Lund there, he's just caught with Mo Smith, but he's still there. But I think that Bobby Burns' lead now, he's as the leading star, is probably half a lap over Lund.
So Mo Smith in trouble up there on that bend in car number 51. And the lead men coming through back onto the home straight. And as they come through, past Mr. Starter, it's Jeff Stagg in 266. The white top still has the lead from 332. Vic Jordan, but Rob Cowley there challenges in 73. And Cowley goes second now in 73. So the early pace setters are the low graders. Stagg in 266, back on the home straight again, goes through. Mr. Starner tells him he's first as they go down the home straight. Rob Cowley close in touch there in 73. And Cowley bidding for the lead now up on that pit's turn. And Bobby Burns well in touch with them. And Burns in fact through to about 3rd place now. Behind him it looks like Murray Harrison in 97. But there's Burns going through down around that bend. That's the grandstand bend. Wharton behind them, and then John Lund, and then Frankie Wayman. And then behind them comes the rest of the Starmen, Dave Muller and Peter Falding going through then. And these are the cars who have already been passed by the Starmen, and we're looking for the lead man coming through as a tangle developing there. And the leaders go through, and there's Ray Torsley moving through in 85. And Mo Smith in 51 after his bounce in the fence down on the pit's turn. He's trying to pull his way back up the placings. So they come through down the home straight. We're at the halfway stage, and the Union Jack is out for the lead men. And there's Bobby Burns in 471, and he's looking a good bet at the moment. He's really moving through the field nicely. So let's see if we can pick the leaders up as they come round again. There's Burns in 471. He's left the rest of the Starmen well behind. So there they go around that turn. Pat Norcliffe on the infield in 336 as the lead man went past. Well, indeed he is. Bobby Burns looks as though he's leading in 471, and behind him it's John Lund second in 53. And there's still plenty of traffic to get through. Behind John Lund it's Nigel Wharton and then Ray Tilsley. Those are they two. That's Lund, he's second. There's Wharton, he's third in 422. Tilsley, he's fourth in 85. Behind them, there's some 1 or 2 low graders, but Frankie Wayman is next in 2-1-2. And that's the lead man, and it's Bobby Burns in 4:71. And that looks like the lap board's going out. We enter the last 5 laps of the grand final, with Bobby Burns leading in 4:71. John Lund, held up by some back markers in 53, is in 2nd place. And that looks like Roger Warnes, who's backed into the fence in 4:97. Mo Smith, 51, charging through there. Nigel Wharton and Ray Tilsley having a tremendous battle for one of the minor places. And there's Wharton still holding off the challenge of Tilsley, but Tilsley giving Wharton plenty of stick. Back into the home straight they go, and we've got Bobby Burns still at the front in 4:71, and there's a rollover up there on the pits bend with John Lund involved in it. And the red flag is going out. The red flag goes out, which means that the race has ended. It's up on the pits turn, and there it is. It's Les Spencer, number 98, who's flipped. And John Lund was involved as Les Spencer went over. It cost John Lund some ground. But we were in the closing stages of the race. The red flag went out, and we assume that that means the result will be taken from the time of the stoppage with just a couple of laps left to run. So with that rollover in the closing stages, there you can see the first aid men just assisting Les Spencer out of the car. Martin, what about that one?
Dave, I think credit to see that there. I think credit to Mark Webster, because he did protect the 98 car there as he went round. But a good race, a superb victory there for Bobby Burns. I think that even allowing for the rollover, I think John Lund was that little bit far behind to have even had any chance to have caught him. There's Des Chandler as well caught in on that top bend, but the result was standard with the lap boards out, and a deserved victory for Bobby Burns.
And Frankie Wayman, well, we wait to see where he finished, but he certainly wasn't in the chase for the top place in that one. Bobby Burns wins it in 4:71. Bobby joint 4th before the start of today's Screensport Superstar Series. A few more points in the bag, and he'll be looking to do rather well when we get to the final round at Coventry. 2nd place went to John Lund in 53, and in 3rd place it was Nigel Wharton in 4:22. And there's Bobby Burns, our winner of the final then, leading them off on the rolling lap for the Grand National Championship qualifying heat. He's got a 1-lap handicap in this one in the 4:71 car. Martin, how far up the places do you think he'll get from a 1-lap handicap?
Well, you know, if my predictions come true, like in the final with predicting John Lund, you know, he could even win it. But seriously, I'll stick my neck out again and go for Richard Ainsworth in this race. But with a 34, 35 car field, it can really be anybody's race. You only want one hold up, and it allows people through.
So a lot of traffic for Bobby Burns to get through from a 1-lap handicap. And there are the star men. They're at least half a lap, some of them 3/4 of a lap in front of Bobby on the rolling lap. Frankie Wayman and Peter Falding go through. There's John Lund, 53. John, of course, had to settle for 2nd in the final. And alongside him, Nigel Wharton in 4:22. Nigel, a heat winner earlier this afternoon, and he had to settle for 3rd in the final. But both of them increasing their Screensport Superstar points. Bobby Burns on double points in this one, which will help him enormously if he can get into that top 8. Well, there they are, the Superstars coming under starters' orders. Dave got the green and we're off and racing. It's the Grand National Heat, the last event of the day. So there go the low graders, the white tops moving through, the ones trying their chance for a bit of glory in this one as the blues come away, and somebody bouncing the barrels there across the middle. I think it was Dave tapping, and we've got a pile up in the fence right in front of us there. Des Chandler 2-1-3, and Richard Ainsworth has gone in 3-5-4, and more of them going at the other end. Martin, it's a hectic start to this one.
It's a hectic start, and as I said, my predictions are going right out the window on the first lap. It's got to be anybody's race at the present moment, but with Rob Pearce, Mo Smith there, Mo Smith up, it's hectic on this first race.
Mo Smith getting airborne there in the number 51 car over the side of the 507 car, and another one underneath. That looks like Mick Crocker, 430 underneath the Mo Smith car. So Mick Crocker reverses out, he's okay, he's going to get back into the action as soon as he can. So let's have a look at the leader then. It's Jeff Stagg in 2:66. Jeff showed well in the final, finished about 11th in fact, after leading them for some way in that final. And there's Richard Ainsworth. Well, Martin, you tipped him for victory. He's certainly not going to get it.
No, that's true. That's true. As I said, it's a game with so many cars on the track. It can be a lottery. You've got 4 or 5 still in with a wonderful chance, but with so many laps still to go, you've got to fancy one of the big boys.
And there's the lead man. It's Jeff Stagg in 2:66. He's heading down for the grandstand bend, coming back to the home straight. Low graders in line behind him. So Stagg the leader, 2:66. In second, it looks like Mick Stecco in 4:19, with Vic Jordan in third place in 3:32. And I think those are the top 3. There they go, from the pits bend and through onto the back straight.
Dave, just one thing, Bobby Burns must be virtually up in the points already.
So Burns moving through the field at a tremendous rate of knots. Wharton's in trouble, 4:22. He's tangled out with the back marker, one of the white tops, and that bend be getting rather crowded. And the leader's in that middle of that lot somewhere, 2:66, Jeff Stagg. So that's changed the placings, and looking back down the charts, I think Dan Clark has taken the lead in 2:03. There's Wharton going through. And tangle up there, and Dan Clark hasn't taken the lead. He's in the fence. He's taken Chris Wilkinson 1:21 instead. So 2:03, Dan Clark is out. And we're just looking back down the places. Mick Stecco in 4:19 is the leader. There he is around that grandstand bend. Bobby Burns is up in second place. Would you believe it? Burns is there from the 1-lap handicap. He's bidding for the lead position, and we think Bobby Burns has taken the lead in 4:71 up there on the pits bend. In fact, Burns has hit trouble now, and it's Rob Pearce who's in the lead in 1:75 from Frankie Wainman in 2:12, and that is the leader. The Union Jacks out at the halfway stage. What a hectic Grand National heat this is. Pearce the leader, 1:75. That's second place Frankie Wainman in 2:12 as they go round the pits turn into the back straight. Mick Stecco, one-time leader in 4:19, down to third place. And Burns, after that pit bend tangle, is fourth in 4:71. That's first and second. The wave yellows are out.
You've got the wave yellows.
They're waving the yellows. Martin, what do you think the trouble is?
It looks like Roger Warren's 4:97. You've got the 5 people there. You have his mechanics there. Hopefully it's nothing serious. The accident also gives Burns chance to pull up. I believe he's in third place behind Pearce and Wainman, and it must be a wonderful chance for Burns to take a victory from a 1-lap handicap.
Yes, and of course double points on offer there, but Roger Warnes, after that shunt, is okay. He's out of the car. He's probably a bit bruised and winded, but he's being assisted away there. His car remains parked on the track. Roger Warnes just returned to racing this year after a 5-year absence, and still managing to maintain his A-grade Blue Roof status. And there he is, just looking just a little bit winded and a bit shook up after that shunt.
Dave, one interesting point, coming into this bend with all the cars there, you do have water and mud on the track. It's going to make for interesting racing over the latter part of the race.
Yes, no doubt. Any driver who gets it slightly wrong going into that turn is going to finish up in that parking lot that we've now got on the pit bend. So the drivers are just being organised, I think, into the positions they were in at the time the wave jellos came out. Mr. Starter Pitstall is about to get them rolling again. They'll do a rolling lap and then back into the race over the remaining laps that they've got to run. So there they are, away onto the roller. As you can see, Rob Pearce is the leader in 1:75. In second, it's Frankie Wainman in 2:12. In third, Mick Stecco, the white top from Nottingham, in 4:19. And in fourth, from the 1-lap handicap, Bobby Burns in 4:71. And Bobby Burns, no doubt, thinking how sweet it would be if he could just get past the man 2 places in front of him on track there, Frankie Wainman, after their little discussion, shall we say, with Liz earlier on this afternoon. Martin, what do you think Bobby Burns' chances are from there, now that they're on a slow roller with the remaining lap still to come?
Well, he must be in with a wonderful chance, Dave. It's Frankie's words, I think, if he can catch me, well, it proved in the final that Frankie could get nowhere near him, and I think that Bobby would has got something to prove. That very few people win from this one-lap handicap, and Bobby actually did it at Hartlepool early this year, but if he did it, it would be quite an achievement, Dave.
Indeed it would. So there we are, coming back under starters' orders as the late cars head for the grandstand bend. Mr. Starter's given them the green, so we're back on the racing. They get away, and immediately Burns chasing after Wainman and Pierce. Pierce the leader in 1.75. Wainman second in 2.12, and Burns trying to get with them in 4.71. And as they head off down that straight, round that turn, that's the 1, 2, 3. That's Pierce, that's Wainman, that's Burns. And in the normal run of things, I think we could forget the rest of them with those three out front, unless there's a very dramatic tangle amongst them. That's first and second, and Wayman closing on Pierce as they go around the grandstand bend. And there's Burns in third in 4.71. He's chasing the two of them. He's not getting with them at the moment. They've gone through with another lap done.
Dave, Burns...
Oh, and spot a bother there for Frankie Wayman. Lost a bit of ground, Martin, on that tangle.
Yeah, but Burns looks like until that he was actually losing. They were actually pulling away, but Frankie just nicking that tyre could well cost him second place. With only 4 to go, Rob Pierce must be favoured to hold on.
So we're in the closing stages. They've got less than 4 to run, and there's John Lund coming into the picture now in 53 just to shake things up. So John Lund running 4th, and that's Wayman in 2.12. He lost ground on the leader, Rob Pierce, after just clobbering a parked car up on the pit's turn. There they go, Pierce, Wayman, Burns and Lund, and now John Lund putting pressure on Bobby Burns. They've got just under 3 laps to run, about 2.5 as they go down the back straight. Burns pulls away from Lund that time. That's 3rd place and 4th place. Bobby Burns 4.71, John Lund 53. And they're well spread out now, and it looks as though that's the way they're going to finish as we reach the closing stages of the Grand National Qualifier. And still Rob Pierce, the clear leader. There he is in 1.75, coming through from the grandstand turn just to look at the last lap board. That's Mr. Starler showing Rob Pierce he's on his last. Past that pit bend parking lot he goes in the 1.75 car, with Wainman still second in 2.12. And John Lund has gone through to 3rd in the 53 car. Bobby Burns going to have to settle for 4th in 4.71 as they come down the home straight and over the line. And Pierce wins it in 1.75. Frankie Wayman finishes 2nd, John Lund 3rd. But a very creditable performance from Bobby Burns to finish in 4th place in the 1-lap handicap. The winner, Rob Pierce in 1.75. 2nd was 2.12, Frankie Wayman. And in 3rd place, number 53, John Lund. And for the last word on today's meeting from Northampton, down to Liz in the pits.
Well, with me now is the man who's proved today that he's certainly not all words and no action, and that's Bobby Burns. Bobby, congratulations on that win. Now, you told us that you've got the killer instinct and you're going to go out there and win, but was it the killer instinct or was it a bit of luck as well?
A bit of luck as well, I think. A bit of both. You need the luck. You can be as quicker than anyone. If you haven't got a bit of luck, it makes no difference.
Now, some people could have said that it was luck, the fact that the race was finished early and there were a few laps left to go.
It wouldn't have made no difference. If it could have raced for another 10 laps, no one had called it. We was that far in front. Yeah. John Lund was there, but he wasn't making a lot of progress. He was driving so hard, that's why he calls the pilot, to try and get through. Yeah. So,
of course,
made no difference.
John Lund overtook you in the Grand National, that very exciting race that we've just seen.
It was more like a destruction derby, wasn't it, the Grand National? We had a problem halfway through. We climbed over a car and smashed the gearbox, and all the oil was coming out onto the back wheel, so we couldn't go as quick as we did in the final, or up until then.
Well, Bobby, you certainly provided us with some of the best excitement today, and thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you in the next round.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Right. Well, there's a man who certainly enjoyed his victory today, and we hope that you've enjoyed the racing. The next round of the Screensport Superstars is at Long Eaton. That's coming up shortly, so do make sure you join us then. In the meantime, from all of us here at Northampton, goodbye and see you soon.